During the semester, we studied different genres in anime, such as fantasy, science fiction, magical girls, and mecha. But one genre we didn't talk about, and personally one of my favorites, is horror. The genre of horror has been around for over a century, first in literature and later on in film and animation, and it has become a very popular genre throughout the years. We all know some iconic scenes from well-known horror movies. However, Japanese culture has its own type of horror, J-horror. Unlike Western horror movies, J-horror tends to focus on psychological terror and in building tension throughout the film. Because of this, Japanese horror films are often considered better or scarier than Western films. Due to the popularity of some of these films and its influence, many have been remade and adapted in America, although the remakes are usually not as successful as the original product, except for a few. Since Japanese horror films have such good reputation, one would expect that the same thing is applied to anime. But sadly, that is not the case. Horror animes are often focused on just the visual aspect of horror. They are filled with jump scares or gory scenes, and they often turn out to be more comical than scary. However, there are some exceptions to this genre that explore the more psychological aspect of horror and achieves an uneasy and creepy story and atmosphere that absorbs the viewer. A good example of this is Satoshi Kon's movie from 1997, Perfect Blue. Mima is a famous Japanese idol that decides to leave her group, Cham, in order to become an actress. From this moment forward, things get twisted when she realizes someone is stalking her, a crazy fan whose whole life was based on Cham and that is now sending death threats to Mima, calling her a traitor for leaving the group. Or at least this is what the director wants you to think at the beginning of the film. We later on in the film discover who the murderer is. But these films go so much deeper. Without giving out any spoilers, Perfect Blue is a psychological thriller that delves into Mima's identity, how it gets distorted together with her reality, leaving the audience questioning if what they are seeing is part of the story or part of the fiction inside it. The audience and Mima are both confused about what is real and what is not. Another anime worth mentioning is Monster, a 74-episode-long anime about Tenma, a promising Japanese neurosurgeon. He has everything, a job he's passionate for and in which he excels, and a rich and beautiful girlfriend. However, one day he decides to ignore an order from his superior and operates on a child instead of saving the life of the mayor of the city. Because of this, he loses his job, his status, and his girlfriend. Later on, the doctors that fired him appear dead, and he is the main suspect. Tenma is determined to get to the bottom of these deaths and discover the truth about the monster behind everything. Monster talks about uncomfortable topics, like the psychology of a psychopath and the morality of issues regarding the value of human life, making this anime horrifying and engaging at the same time. Lastly, probably one of the most brilliantly made animes is Mononoke. This 12-episode-long anime from 2007 tells the story about a mysterious apothecary that solves situations caused by a demon, or in Japanese, Mononoke. During this anime, we are told 5 independent stories, including different characters and situations except for the apothecary and the demon. Because of its colorful artwork and design, this anime is the most unconventional horror anime. This contrasts very well with the dark atmosphere and story. The suspense and mystery is built throughout the anime, but using long pauses and scenes without any movement or sound. The creativity in Mononoke is what makes this horror anime extremely unique and enjoyable. Personally, I believe that horror is one of the most interesting genres. Although it may be sometimes hard to find, there are some good horror animes out there with great stories and characters.